welcome to the It is a Sarah podcast. Today it is Tuesday, June 11, 2024, and again I will share my daily handwerk perikelen with you, my daily crafty adventures. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making daily episodes. Today it is quite cold, so that's the reason why I'm not wearing my Sommerknus tee. I was in the car an hour ago and it was 10 degrees outside, and for June in the Netherlands that's quite a low temperature, so that made me decide this morning that I will not wear my Sommerknus today. I will save it for a little bit warmer days, maybe tomorrow, maybe the Thursday. But I did hang it on my nail. We have a nail in this part of the wall. I don't know, you can only see a little bit of it, but we have a, this is the chimney channel. That sounds quite funny, the chimney channel. We have a fireplace downstairs and a chimney. I think chimney is the good word, but now I'm doubting because it sounds so funny, and I don't think it's really I don't think it's really a funny thing. So it's quite a funny name for a basic thing. But the chimney is on top of the roof, and this is the channel where all the smoke goes through, and it can get quite warm, not too hot, but just a nice temperature. And it's a bit of a weird shape in the middle of our wall. But my husband put a nail in it for me, so now I can hang my knitwear on the nail, and that's very nice. It's a very nice spot because every time I come into our bedroom, my knitting office by day and bedroom by night, the door is in front of the nail. So when I open the door, or most of the time the door is open, I immediately see what's hanging on my nail. So, and that are always hard jumping things. So sometimes it's a work in progress, sometimes it's a finished object, sometimes it's something I finished quite a while ago, but just it can get a little bit more attention, and it's very fun. I don't have a lot of paintings in the house, so I don't really have paintings on the wall. I have knitwear on the wall. That's perfect. So my Sommerknus is hanging right there, shining there until the sun is shining outside and I can wear her. And then on the day I will wear her, I will tell you all about it in an episode. But not today. I'm wearing this tee. I told about it before last week, I guess, or the week before. So it's a very nice and soft and hard jumping tee. I didn't use a pattern. It was my own playing with the fit, and it went very well. But you have to go back a few episodes. I don't know which one. I'm sorry. Today I want to share a new cast on with you. Maybe you have seen my video, Monday video, yesterday evening. I casted on a new project, and that was on the end of the episode, and I will tell you all about it today. Let me start with this lovely magic yarn ball, because maybe you have seen the big pile of yarn scraps laying on my table, on my desk. They all came from my cur sweater, my scrappy cur. I showed you last week that my scrappy cur was not successful, and lucky me, I did knit the lead cardigan, scrappy lead cardigan, and that was the perfect thing, and that was really how I wanted it to be. But this was my first try, and I didn't want it this way. It was, I think the look is very nice, but it was not working very nice. All the yarn ends, they gave me so much frustration. That was not, it was not flowing. It was not a hard jumping process. It is a hard jumping product, but not a hard jumping process. And the process is even as much important as the product, I guess, most of the time. So I will frog this, and I will do it every now and then, because all the tiny yarn ends, they are tangled together, and it's quite a challenge to frog it. Most of the time it goes this way, this is hanging there, and then I have to pull on another one, and I did weave in my yarn ends as I go, so it's quite a big mess, and I have all those tiny ends. So there was a big pile of it on my desk, and I realized that yesterday it was I was running out of time. I had an appointment and I also wanted to finish my video and I want to take a picture on my Instagram of my other new cast on, the Hildegard vest I'm making for myself. I showed you yesterday, I made a pink one for my girl, and now I casted on a brown one for myself, and I want to take a picture of both the vests on my desk. I always take pictures there. So, but it was a big mess and I didn't have a basket around me to put all the yarn ends in and I was really running out of time. So I was standing in my bedroom, what can I use? And I couldn't find anything. And then I thought, my dress! I can use my dress. So this is a skirt, but I was wearing my dress yesterday. So I did go to the desk and all the yarn ends in my dress. And then I ran to my bed and I put it out of my bed. A big scrappy mess on the bed. And then I could take the picture. And of course I forgot in my hurry that I did it. So when I went to bed, I thought, oh, it's still here. So I put it back in my dress and on the desk. But of course, that whole process of transferring all the scraps from one place to another, they get all tangled and it became a big mess. And I don't like mess. It was a chaos. Chaos. Do you say chaos? In Dutch we say chaos. The same letters, but an other pronunciation. I don't like chaos. I'm a very good chaos creator, very talented, but I also am very good in getting the chaos organized. That's an interesting process. Creating chaos, organizing your chaos. I'm never bored. I'm always busy. Busy with creating chaos or organizing it. Doesn't matter. I'm always busy. So that's okay. But I didn't like the chaos and I realized if I put it in a nice basket, it still will not work. So that's the reason why people make magic yarn balls, to avoid the chaos and the tangled up and the knots and all. So I decided to make one too. I did make several magic yarn balls with single strands of fingering weight, but this one is with 2 strands of fingering weight because I knitted with the yarn held double, and also I didn't want to untangle the double strands because when you only have short yarn ends it's not a problem, but when the yarn ends are longer, that can be quite a frustration doing that, untangle the yarn ends. And it was my plan to knit them double anyway, so why should I undouble them? So I made a magic yarn ball with the yarn held double, and I didn't do the magic knot. I don't really like the magic knot. I don't really trust the magic knot. So, and the project I had in mind, it didn't need magic knots. It was okay when the yarn ends were loose. So when my yarn was all on the magic yarn ball, I put my thumb on it and I wrapped another strand of yarn around it. So it's a bit of a messy yarn ball. You don't see it now. It's looking very nice. I really love the look of this yarn ball, and I also really love the feeling of this yarn ball, that all the colors are hidden inside and you don't know exactly which colors are in it. It's a bit of a surprise. It is the magic. I really love that. So the chaos is organized in a nice ball. I also love that process. It always calms me down. A big mess and then creating it in something nice and organized. I think that's really a relaxing activity for me. So I was having fun. But yesterday, let me tell you all about my cast on. Yesterday I did cast on this, and it's still looking a bit messy, but that will become less messy, I hope, I guess. It can be anything. One of my friends asked me if I was knitting a project bag, and I thought that's actually quite a good idea. So yeah, but it will not be a project bag, I guess. And you can also make a hot water bottle this way or whatever. There are several opportunities, but I am making a shawl. In October 2022, I organized a sock knit day in my hometown. And there were a lot of lovely sock knitters, only ladies, I guess. Yeah, only ladies. And we knitted socks all day, and we chatted about knitting socks, and we advised each other about knitting socks, and we just had a good time. That was a very lovely day. And there was one lady, and she was knitting with sock yarns a very big shawl. She had a very big tube, very long, and all the very bright colors, pink and yellow and orange, very bright. And it was immediately heart jumping to me. I immediately knew I want such a shawl too. Sometimes when you know with some projects. So she told me how she was making it, and I'm not quite sure because it's a while ago, but she casted on quite an amount of stitches. She didn't close the bottom, it was open, so it was a big tube, the same as when you are knitting a sock, but then much more stitches, a lot more stitches than a sock, of course. And I really love that idea. So on January 1st, 2023, I started my own Scrappy Shawl. But I don't really like wearing shawls with straight ends. I really love the ends to be pointy. I can wrap them around my neck and make a knot. And I really love that shape. I have made some of those shawls, and they are my favorite. So I thought I will make such a shape. So I only casted on a few stitches. And I did do that with the Turkish cast on. I will tell you more about that later. I made one side straight, and the other side I did increase every other round, I don't know, or every third round. I don't know what I exactly did. I think every fourth round. It was not every other round, because then there were soon too many stitches. So that was a bit confusing. But anyway, I was knitting it with the yarn held single, and there my magic knot drama started. My magic knot didn't seem to be as magic as they promised. They get loose all the time, so I got holes in my knitting, and I was very disappointed. But then I thought, okay, let me try to fix it, and I tried the visible mending. I learned to duplicate stitch over the holes, and then it get fixed, and it was okay. And I chose very contrasting colors. Maybe I can find a picture. I don't know if I have time for that today. Otherwise you have to scroll back on my Instagram for quite a while. It was January 2023. I'm sure about that. I don't have the shawl anymore. I frocked it off. I actually think it's in my pillow downstairs on the couch, the whole shawl. But it didn't work. And also the colors, I didn't like the colors. I was knitting with the yarn held single on a magic yarn boss, and some stripes were very big and other were very tiny. It was not very exciting. It was not nice, not in balance. So I quit that project. And it was my plan with those little tiny yarn ends to knit socks. But when I wanted to cast on this week, yesterday, I didn't feel the sock sparkle. I do feel the sock sparkle, but not with this yarn. I have a lot of socks on my needles at the moment. But I didn't want to make socks of it. So I thought, okay, what do I want then? And I realized I want to try the Scrappy Shawl again. And I thought, okay, this time let me let me make a straight shawl. And maybe I'm not the one who will wear it. Maybe one of my family members. I don't know. It is about the process. I will catch my tiny scrappy yarn ends in this shawl, and knitting it will make me happy. And maybe wearing it too, but that's not important. The process is the most important to me right now. So I did cast on 50 stitches with the Turkish cast on. And the Turkish cast on is the cast on I always use when I knit my socks from toe up socks. That's my favorite way at this moment. And I really love the Turkish cast on. It's so easy and quick. I know you also have Judy's Magic cast on. I think that's a little bit more difficult. It's not really difficult, but when you start learning it, it's more difficult than the Turkish cast on. And the Turkish cast on, it's just a nice looking and steady cast on. You don't see it. It's just, yeah, I always have to check if my camera is focusing on the right place when I showed something quite close. I just love this cast on. It's so easy. So I did 50 stitches. You could see that yesterday. And then I start knitting in the round. And I knit magic loop. I knit it on 3mm needles. That's quite a small needle for knitting fingering weight double, but I'm a loose knitter. And the main reason, the fabric is feeling pretty good, so it's not too tight. A shawl can be quite loose. Yeah, I don't really love the loose knitting because I am a messy knitter, and most of the time I try to avoid messy knitting. So when I choose to knit on a loose gauge, it will be more messy than I like. But it's feeling very nice and warm. And the main reason I did choose 3mm needles is because of the needle. This is the perfect needle for me to left in a project for quite a while. It's my Hia 3mm needle. It was one of my first circular needles. And I love knitting with it, but I prefer the Chaogu cables. The needle points are perfect, but the cables of the Chaogu I do like more. So I don't use this quite often. And 3mm needle is not really a common size, so it's not in the sets I own. I think I only have two pairs of 3mm needles, but I use them quite a lot. So it's not really working when it's in a project that will take for a longer time. So that was my reason why I chose this one. It's working really nice. It's feeling really nice. And what I do, I don't weave in yarn ends. And I also, when I run out of a color, I attach a new strand. I cross them over my finger, and for quite an amount of stitches, sometimes 5, sometimes 10, I knit all the strands together. So when I knit them together, I knit with 4 strands instead of 2 strands. And then you have some stitches with double yarn ends, 4. And I thought they would be quite visible, but that's not really happening. It's really feeling okay, and it's really feeling good. So it's working out pretty nice. And when my strand is really tiny, I just drop the old strand and knit further with the new strands, and it really works. It's only a bit messy now. I don't cut off the yarn ends, because why should I? I hope that they will... when the sock, oh no, it's not the sock. When the shawl tube will grow, they will disappear. They will be inside. It's the same as when you knitting a sock. When you're starting the toe, it can be quite wonky and messy. But the moment the toe gets a little bit of body, more fabric, the problem will be solved. So that will happen with this shawl too, I expect. So then all the yarn ends will disappear and the inside, and you don't have to weave in anything. You don't have to do anything. It's just extra layer, extra wool, extra warm. So I don't know what the common size for a shawl is. The fun thing is that you can measure. You don't have to decide before you start knitting. You just can knit. So I will do that. And when I'm done... when the shawl, in Dutch the word is shawl, S-J-A-A-L, S-G-A-A-L. That's how we write shawl. Then I will close the top with the Kitchener stitch, and then it's done. No weaving in, it's just a fun project. But no hurry, it will stay in my bedroom. I really love to have tiny knitting projects and crochet projects everywhere in the house. I don't crochet at the toilet and in the bathroom. I don't do it there. I don't knit there. But it's the living room, the dinner room, the bedroom. You always have those moments that someone's calling, or you are waiting for a call, or waiting for something else, waiting for the laundry. those tiny moments you can pick up an easy project and knit without checking the pattern. Just knit. Socks are perfect for that. Granny squares are perfect for that. And this one will be perfect for that too. So yeah, I will have fun, and it's really a nice project. Just let it happen. Yeah, and it's also good that it will happen. Because it's perfect for me to knit myself through my scrappy stash, because I ordered my second advent calendar this weekend. I told about it before last week, I guess. I ordered an advent calendar from a Dutch dyer. Her name is Manon, and you can find her company as Witzomer. She just started dyeing, and I knew I wanted to order another one. I had to think about it because buying 2 advent calendars, it's quite a lot. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of yarn. And I have a funny story about a lot of yarn. I have an advice for you. You can. I was watching Inga's episodes. Inga from Knitting Traditions. Watching knitting podcasts is something I do when I'm alone during the day and knitting, or in the early morning. But most of the time, not when my family is around. But now, yesterday, I was alone in the living room in the beginning of the evening, and I was watching Inga's podcast about her yarn haul. She visited quite some Norwegian yarn mills in the West Coast, and she told about that trip. And also she showed her yarn haul, all the yarn she bought. So I was watching that and knitting. And then my husband came into the room, and he said, he said, I don't know the word. Oh, that's annoying. I don't want to edit today. Normally I will cut this doubting parts out, but that's a lot of work. He joined me at the couch. So he was watching Inga too. And he said, she bought a lot of yarn. That isn't normal, isn't it? And I had to laugh. And I said, yes, that is normal. That is normal. And I suddenly realized that this was my chance to change how do you call it? The references. Is that an English word too? That's how we say it in the Netherlands. It changed the view of my husband on buying yarn when he was watching Inga, and he thought, that's a lot. And I said, no, that's nothing. All the knitters do that. So when I will buy a lot of yarn, he will compare it with Inga, and he always will think, oh, Sarah didn't buy as much as Inga. So thank you, Inga. That's my advice. My husband is never complaining about the amount of yarn I'm buying, so it was absolutely not necessary. But if you have a partner or someone around you who thinks that you buy too much yarn, watch Inga's podcast and tell you it's not. Of course you can buy more yarn than Inga. That's also true. So it is very nice to own a lot of yarn. It feels a bit. It suddenly reminded me of saving money on your bank account. It's nice to save a lot of money on your bank account, and it works the same with yarn. It's nice to save a lot of yarn in your stash, just to have. The only thing is, the bank account, the money on the bank account will be lower when you have more yarn, but you can work on both. Little steps, small steps. So I'm working on my yarn account. I ordered the second advent calendar, and I ordered it again at the Dutch dyer. Her name is Wolbeest. Her name is Alexandra, and her company is called Wolbeest, Het Wolbeest. The translation is the wool animal, and she has lovely colors. I really love. I see her at knitting events all the time, and her stand, her booth is always the right side, is always a big color palette, which really makes my heart jump. It is all the browns and greens, and she has several colors. She has all the colors, but specific those color combinations are really so beautiful. So I ordered her advent calendar Fall. This I hope that it will be the good colors. I think that they will. It is good to knit to my scrappy stash, because in December there will be a lot more nice mini skeins of yarns in my collection. Yeah. Okay. Enough for today, I guess. I think I told everything. I just made a page in my knitting book for the Scrappy Shawl. I filmed that for you, so you will see that in a minute with a little music under it, if you like. I started a new knitting book. My last one was completed, and I always buy those knitting books. Those are not knitting books, there are notebooks in the store. It's a company in the Netherlands, and I think maybe 6 years ago the first book was gifted to me by my little girl. It was a Christmas present, and I was a person who always started over and over and over again in notebooks. I always thought, this is too messy, it's not how I want it to be, and I ripped the pages out, or I threw the book away and started a new one. But then I received a knitting book for my little girl, and of course that was the perfect motivation to really complete the book, because I don't want to tell her, oh, now mommy don't like the book anymore, so she will throw your present away. I couldn't make that. That was too horrible. So I just filled the book, and it was really hard jumping. It isn't a neat book, it is a notebook with all the notes, and it is messy, but it's also happy, and it are my knitting and crochet diaries, and I think this is the 6th. I all have the same one, so there's a big row in my on my shelf with all the knitting books, and I really hope later when I'm old that will be my children and maybe grandchildren. They will say, oh, those are the knitting books of Granny Sarah. How did she knit? How did she make all the things? Can we make it too? That is my dream, so I will keep it. I started a new one. The first page is a project I can't show you yet. I had a meeting today. I will organize something very exciting and very special in November 2024 on Saturday 23 November 2024. It will be great, and I can tell you all about it at the end of the month, but not yet. And the next page is my Hildegard vest I started this weekend. I have to add some yarn ends and some drawings. And I just made a page for the Scrappy Shawl. It's also a bit boring, not really colorful. That will happen, but I showed you how I made it. So, and what I will do for now, I will do a little task on my estuary skirt. It is already quite late in the afternoon, so I don't have a lot of time to work on it, but I will, I did buy interfacing because I didn't have enough, and I have to cut some pattern pieces in the interfacing, and then I will iron it at the back of the fabric. So that's a little sewing task I will do today, and then the day is over. Then I have to cook and be a mommy. For my children. So I will do that, and I hope that I can knit in the evening. I'm quite sure that that will happen. So thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time, and I hope you will enjoy a little bit of Sarah working in her knitting book and cutting interfacing. That sounds a bit weird. Why should you enjoy me seeing cutting interfacing? Nah, doesn't matter. You know what I mean. Have a nice day. Bye bye.